Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Digital Marketing Podcast. Today, Alex couldn't join us. He had a few issues, and I brought Natalie to you guys. Hi, Natalie.
Hey guys, hi Rocco, good morning.
Natalie is working with me for the past like 8 years, 9 years now.
Yep.
She's the smart one in the company, and for today's topic, she's really the perfect person to talk to because she's handling these topics every day basically for us. And today we're going to
Mhm.
talk about bidding strategies. Basically, we are trying to understand what bidding strategies Google has, which ones are good to use, or why we should
Mhm.
use certain bidding strategies over another. Another has seen a lot of that because the first question we ask each other when we start a new account is going to be about what bidding strategies should we use for a client. But before getting into that, we are gonna quickly remind you guys that this episode is streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter, and that you're gonna be able to find the recordings on YouTube, LinkedIn, and all of the major podcast platforms. With no further ado, let's get looking into target cost per impression or cost per thousand impression. So, Natalie, like the cost per thousand impression is something that is very rarely used in digital marketing, but to surprise to the most, not to us because we have seen that a lot, cost per thousand impression is really used by very large corporations. For example, in your opinion, like if you were Coca-Cola, right? Let's assume you're launching a new flavor, the gummy bear cola, right? Uh, what don't you think that target cost per impression or thousand per thousand impression really makes sense because you're trying to promote a product that nobody knows about, but everybody knows Coca-Cola. So how do you
Yeah,
reach the most people, right?
yeah. So cost per thousand impression is one of the best strategies that we can use. While using the example of Coca-Cola, they have that new flavor coming out. So basically, cost per thousand impression is the best strategy that you can use because it helps your brand get more reach out there and push your product over to that other market. And it helps with the branding and yeah, it's the best
Yeah,
one that we could use.
and I feel like usually cost per thousand impression is part of campaigns with relatively large budgets because
Yeah.
it's usually the first step toward creating awareness within a consumer. The
Yes.
problem is when you are a small brand, it might become difficult to make an effective use of that because at the same time, when you're a small brand, you're probably looking for
Mhm.
immediate result, immediate returns. In that case, probably I would say, Natalie, the most you've used is an engagement campaign with the
Mhm.
opportunity to link to the site. So you kind of get the best of the two worlds, right?
Yeah, it always depends on the strategy that we have with the client and what their goals is. And then we'll just see which bidding strategy works the best with the budget that they have because every brand, every industry is different in terms of that. So we just have to go in, make sure that everything's up to par and see what strategy aligns best with the client's objectives.
Yeah, and then of course, like the interesting part of digital marketing, particularly if you get into social media, is that all of these strategies kind of we can find a way to fuse them together, right?
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
that kind
Yeah,
of
they go hand in hand. Everyone helps each other out. Every platform helps each other out. So it's basically a team effort with search and organic and everything else like social media. Everyone
yeah.
helps each other.
I agree. Like particularly like if you
Mhm.
think about a new product coming out, you could have a
Mhm.
video where you do a cost per thousand impression, and then you retarget
Mhm.
people that watch 75% of the video, and now all
Yeah.
of a sudden you move toward cost per acquisition down the line. But
Yeah.
with that said, right? Uh, let's talk about the real case scenario, like clients that we
Mhm.
see on a day-to-day basis. Usually get two types of clients, right? The client that has an account running that just wants to bring it to the next level, and then you get clients
Mhm.
that never advertise. So they got
Yep.
no data, no nothing. And with no data,
No idea.
yeah, they don't have a conversion pixel, they don't have data, right?
Nothing.
This
Yep.
is where probably CPC comes into place, right?
Mhm.
What would you think is the right approach? Like when you go into CPC campaign, do you go right away into a manual CPC or do you prefer to phase in manual CPC later on or use an auto CPC? What's your preferred method?
So usually when we start with a brand new campaign, we just want to get the most data as possible. So we just want to see how the campaign performs. And we usually give it 2 weeks and then assess. Probably we'll switch to manual CPA so that we CPC, so we have more control on the campaign. It all depends on the strategy and the build that we have for that client.
Yeah, because I think that what many people forget is that manual CPC is really a complete different brain than any CPA
Oh,
campaign, right? Because
yep.
the goal of the campaign is not to get you a sale. The goal of the
Hmm.
campaign is to get you traffic, whether the
Yep.
traffic is good or low quality. Now,
Hmm.
somebody might ask us, well, if somebody is searching for a keyword on Google, there must be good
Hmm.
traffic. But usually that's not the case because we do
Nope.
not know if that person is ready to purchase or is ready to
That's
generate a
correct.
lead or not. So
Hmm.
usually with CPC campaigns, you see a much lower cost per click compared to a CPA campaign, but the
Hmm.
quality is also lower. So what you're saying is that, yeah, at the beginning, I want to see what keywords really get me going with an automatic
Yes.
CPC bidding. But then until I get conversion data, I want to control the performance because maybe Google
Hmm.
Analytics is telling me, look, Rocco, this keyword is getting you a lot of traffic, but it's really not helping me generate the kind of performance I
Yep.
need. Time on site is low and all of those kind of things. So
Hmm.
basically, manual CPC really is a temporary campaign in today's world where AI
Yep.
has become so smart. I remember 5 years ago, I did use a lot of CPC campaigns because I was able
Hmm.
to outperform CPA campaigns. But then the AI came into place in a very strong manner. And to this day, I don't see a single campaign that has data that uses manual CPC as a result of that.
Yeah, the integration of AI has switched up the whole strategy with Google and what we've seen before. So we've been just adjusting to the new platform with AI and seeing how we can take advantage of AI into our campaigns and our clients.
So basically, what we are seeing is that so far, CPM is a campaign that you never use when you start a client. It's
Yeah.
mostly like a branding effort that leads
Hmm.
somewhere else. And CPC will be the starting point for a client that has never done advertising before,
Yeah.
because of course you have no data. But let's assume that you start getting a few conversions, right? And
Hmm.
then your pixels start recording data. Well, all of a sudden you can move into a conversion bidding. Many
Oh,
people
yeah.
call it a CPA, which is
Hmm.
really not, in my opinion, the right term because cost per acquisition bidding is really not the term because you actually have a target CPA bidding where you
Hmm.
tell Google what your desired CPA is, which, by the way, they make very kind suggestions when you set it
Oh,
up.
yeah. I love when they do that.
Yeah, and they do a maximized conversion bidding strategy.
Hmm.
And those two bidding strategies are really so different from one another that you cannot really put them on the same level. Because on maximized conversions, as we have
Hmm.
seen, they try to use your whole budget and get you
Oh,
as
yeah.
many conversions as possible. With target CPA, they might not even use your old budget because the goal is to try to get the cost you want. And sometimes
Hmm.
the two things don't go along. But Natalie, I guess like with the strategy you use really depends on the performance that Google gives us, right? Because sometimes maximized conversion gets better CPA than the target CPA. So usually, do you prefer to start a new campaign with maximized conversions or with target CPA? What's your preference there?
Uh, Usually we start with max conversions and then we'll switch and adjust the CPA based on the conversions that we've seen rolling in. If we see that the conversions are not ideal or anything like that or too high, we'll just want to bid down and put a restraint on that campaign and make sure that all of the conversions and the leads that we're acquiring are in par with what the client wants.
Yeah, because I think it kind of creates a mind game, this CPA
Hmm.
campaign, because many times you see a target CPA, then you see a limited by budget
Oh,
message.
yeah.
And when you click on that, all of a sudden Google tells you that if you want more traffic, you got to pay more for it. And there is an explanation to this, which initially people think Google wants more money, but actually that's
Hmm.
not the case. What is actually happening is that there is not enough demand to get you more conversions for that target CPA. So Google is
Hmm.
telling you basically you got to show up higher. And once you show up higher, you get more traffic. However, clicks are gonna cost more, so we
Hmm.
target CPA will be higher. And many people are like, I'm not willing to pay more per conversion, but it really comes down to how much money you make per conversion. But there have also been cases we see that when we work on law clients, we do work together with a lot of law firms, and we
Hmm.
see that all of a sudden paying 3 times the amount of conversion increases the closing rate. So the
Yeah.
position does affect the quality of the leads. So I would say it's pretty hard to go to a client and say you need to pay more per conversion, right?
Hmm.
But in your experience, like, do you think it is worth telling a client to experiment with that, right? To experiment what kind of data you might get and what kind of leads or sales, even if that would mean paying more for those conversion.
Well, definitely. In terms of law clients, law industry is a very sticky, very narrow industry. And as it is, terms are very expensive there, and the leads and conversions in Google are gonna be extremely expensive because there's so much competition in the industry right now in Google space. So yeah,
I think it goes down to the basic of human behavior, right? If
definitely.
you're on top, most likely people will fill out a lot of forms, right? They're not going to stop
Hmm.
at the first result. But the ones that fill out the first result are usually the ones that are more prone to take action now. They're really in an urge. While if
Yeah.
people take the time to scroll through options, maybe they're not as ready to commit, and the
Yeah.
different conversion rate can be
Yeah,
seen.
they're just more informational. They're just looking for more information versus the person that is in need of the service will fill out the form right away.
Yeah, and I feel like the overall like target CPA in general, it might end up being the strategy we use, right?
Hmm.
Because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, you need to make the dynamic work for a client in terms of performance. But with that said, Natalie, like when it comes to actually optimizing, for target
Hmm.
CPA campaigns, like you have less negative keywords, you have overall less quote unquote problems, right? Because Google learns what works for you, what doesn't. But what if there is a problem with tracking, right? Like we have seen a
Yeah.
few clients that all of this, some developer cancel code and all the data gets screwed. So it becomes very important to be on top of your web development, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's very important because one moment the code is gone and tracking is gone and an atom bomb went off and it's just like trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah, and
You
I
need
feel
that
like
data.
something that I would like to share with everybody listening in on our YouTube channel. We actually uploaded a video for the use of a tool within Google AdWords called data exclusion. With data
Hmm.
exclusion, you can actually exclude the AI from using specific dates to optimize your account. What does that
Hmm.
mean? Let's say your developer, for whatever reason, removes the code or the code goes missing. You can tell Google, don't use this date range because
Yeah.
it's fake data or wrong
Hmm.
data, and Google will be able to restart where it stopped, and that saved a lot of clients over time. And
Oh yeah. We've seen that with throughout the history with all of our clients whenever that happens. It's magic what Google can do just excluding those dates and it's just like crisis averted basically.
yeah, and I mean, like, the nice part, we're not going to get into the in depth in that topic because it would probably
Hmm.
deserve an episode on its own. But Google has always offered something called offline conversion upload, where
Hmm.
let's assume that you run a digital marketing agency. You might get a lot of leads throughout a given month, but maybe only 10 of those leads become a qualified lead. So
Yep.
technically, Google allows you to import those 10 people in the account and tell the system to actually optimize for the 10 and not for the 100 leads you got. Uh,
Yep.
that brings the optimization to a whole new level because it's able to identify users that are similar to those 10, right? And
Yeah.
you need a CRM for that. But Natalie, I think like you can agree that you have seen much more success using like more precise data point, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, just like ChatGPT, as long as you put all of the forms in it, all the information that you need, all of the content, Google's gonna take it and it's gonna run with it and it's gonna get you more leads based on the information that you provided.
Yeah, unfortunately, but Google is also giving us GA4, which is not very nice in terms of
It's
information.
not nice at all.
Yeah, a lot of headache from that.
Yeah.
But another last bidding strategy that I would like to look at together is the target ROAS. Target
Mhm,
ROAS, for those of you that might not have used it, uh, many people believe is the ideal strategy for e-commerce, but because you have monetary value attached to the
mhm,
sale. But as we mentioned, there is the offline conversion upload. When you have, which you need to have a CRM to do that. But as
mhm,
part of what you upload to Google, there is also how much money you made from a lead. So it's not only for e-commerce, it is also for lead gen companies. Now,
mhm,
there is a big difference, of course, between e-commerce and leads. While on an e-commerce, the initial transaction, not the future upsells, is immediate. So you get
mhm,
immediately the ROAS. For lead gens, it gets uploaded a little bit later. So it
yeah.
kind of creates a delay in conversions. But regardless of that, if you're able to do target ROAS, you're kind of bringing the lab, you're bringing your optimization to the next level simply because you're
Mhm,
now optimizing for dollars, not for uh, conversions, which are leads or sale. With that said, Natalie,
mhm,
target ROAS, as you know, follows the same pattern. You have a target ROAS bidding strategy similar to the target CPA, or you can maximize your target ROAS, which basically means you get the highest ROAS possible within the budget, which might end up
mhm,
being lower than the target ROAS, basically sacrificing volume for a specific goal in that case. But with that said, like I know that target ROAS, it's a bit more of a next level strategy for businesses, particularly for lead ones. But it kind of seemed that there is a ranking, right, in terms of bidding strategy. You have CPC, CPA, target ROAS, but it also seems
mhm,
the more automated you get, the better results you get. So it kind of suggests us that with this whole AI revolution that has been going on
mhm,
the last 12 months, that AI really does simplify the work of firms because it does a lot of the work for them. So would you feel like that it's important for digital marketers to always stay on top of their game for when it comes to updating their knowledge, which is this AI? Otherwise, you're basically
mhm.
left out of the market. Would you say that's a correct statement?
Oh, definitely. We have to, AI is here. We have to take advantage of it and learn how to use it, or else we'll just fall behind and figure out how to include it with our clients and our industry. Yeah.
And I would like to share with everybody something. First of all, greetings to Tom. Hi, Tom. Nice to have you here. Something that I've learned that has been a topic of many discussions with Google because, of course, Google is currently pushing target ROAS like crazy. Like they want you to use target ROAS. But I was recently talking to a client that does import their revenue into AdWords.
Mhm,
It does have an immediate monetary value attached to each transaction. The difference was that the transactions were all the same amount. There was no difference between user A and user B. You always made
mhm,
$150, right? And Google kept pushing for target ROAS, but I was like, I don't feel there is a need to use target ROAS because
yeah,
whether I use the same amount, it basically I'm moving back to a target CPA strategy because I know I
mhm,
need to spend less than 150 per conversion to be successful. So I would rather play around with the target CPA bidding than target ROAS because it's the same thing. So there are
mhm.
cases in which it does not make sense to upgrade because
Yeah,
you're gonna get exactly the same results, right?
yeah,
Which also means basically that's why strategies are there, right? They need to make sure that the bidding strategy makes sense. So although there is a ranking, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow somebody comments and says, "Oh, I use manual CPC and it works very well for me." It's totally possible, right? It all depends on a
yeah,
case by case scenario. And
yeah, I
Natalie,
agree.
Natalie, when it comes to all of this discussion, right? If you were to give a recommendation to somebody that has a campaign going on, they're already using target CPA, and they are having issues getting more volume, right? Getting
Mhm.
more traffic. Would you recommend to look into something specific to help them out?
Yeah, we'll just basically what we do is look at the campaign as a whole and do a audit and see what's working and what's not. Most of the times we need to add more keywords, more specific keywords, change the way that we're bidding those keywords are more negative keywords, and then make sure that the campaign is going in the right direction, as well as the bidding strategy that we have enabled at that moment. But most of the times that we have new clients who are already running their own campaigns and they're not being successful, what we usually do is launch a brand new campaign. And that way we have clean data in order to optimize it better and see what's working from the previous one to the new one. And we've seen a lot of success with that, where we've had campaigns that are not performing the way or not getting the results that the client wants. And as soon as we launch our campaign, goes up and the conversions and the client's very happy.
Yeah, something very interesting that I've been working on in the past couple of months, actually. One of our own clients came to us because it was like, I'm very happy with performance, but I really want more conversions.
Mhm.
And I knew that, yeah, it was advertising on all the keywords that you can possibly advertise on. There was really no room to get more for them. So we came up with an interesting approach there. We were like, okay, let's have a call and let's go through the campaign. So we
Mhm.
are both on the same page that there is nothing more we can do here. Once we were both on the same page, we were like, what can help Google deliver more traffic? So they had a target CPA of 35. We could not spend
Mhm.
more than that. And we were getting probably 2,000 conversions a day at $35. And then I was like, what if we figure out a way to optimize your funnel to get your conversion rate to 1% higher, which would have meant a cost per conversion of $30 for them.
Mhm.
So interestingly enough, every percentage point we increase the conversion rate, the more volume was delivered at $35. That means that we were able to really scale up that account without touching the AdWords itself. So there are other elements to what you see in
Yeah.
the account. So you need to open, kind of think outside the box, and you can
Mhm.
think of SMS remarketing campaign where you send them a text message. Now
Yeah.
let's imagine if you are able to recover 5% of your leads by simply texting them a coupon code via text message. Your CPA will go down. Google will
Mhm.
still want to get the target CPA of 35, gets you more traffic. So there are alternatives ways to do it. You just sometimes need to think outside of the box and say, okay, if I cannot launch more campaign, put more negatives, what can I do? And the answer is usually, why don't you try optimizing your funnel and see what happens?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
guys, this concludes today's topic. We, as you guys know, we like to keep everything short and sweet. We don't like to bore you with very long uh, podcasts here. As a reminder, everything is recorded. You're gonna be able to access us through our through all the major podcasting platforms. Um, our the name of the show is the Digital Marketing Podcast, and again, Natalie today was my emergency partner. Thank you, Natalie, for joining.
You're welcome.
Natalie
Of
promised me to
course.
do some episode in Spanish at some point, so let's see if she keeps up the promise.
We can definitely try.
But guys, thank you so much again. Natalie, stay on. I'm gonna greet you right
Yes, sir.
after the episode, and thank you so much for joining.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you